Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Welcome to the Soul of Sunday. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is an historic faith with a progressive theology. We affirm the worth and dignity of every being and that we are all deeply interconnected. We are bound to one another not by creed, but by covenant. And we are called to answer the call of love with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Whoever you are, those of all nations, all creeds, all colors, all kinds of love, you are welcome here. Dearly beloved, I miss you. I love you. I'm so happy we can be here Zooming to worship together. We're doing an awesome job staying together while we're apart. Thanks again and again to our extraordinary tech team, Art Nava, Chala Hazar, Cam Moorhead, Rich Abreu, and Sandy Dixon. They are making it all possible. 2 Sundays ago, I left this pulpit in tears of joy. We had just begun our first ever virtual covenant renewal, our annual pledge drive, and the numbers were outrageous, outrageously good. Later this morning, Reverend Beth will share our up-to-the-minute total. I cannot thank you enough for your generosity and devotion. It means, you mean, the world to me. Thank you so much.
Good morning, my friends. It's wonderful to be with you again this Sunday. I'm adding my big thanks to Reverend Kim's. Wow. If you haven't already downloaded today's order of service, there's a link in the chat, and it's also available on the homepage at ascboston.org. All of the hymn lyrics are included in the order of service and will be posted in the chat so we can sing together. There's also a link to Sermon Bingo, so feel free to play along while Reverend Kim preaches. If you have a candle and matches nearby, in a moment we can light the chalice together. As Reverend Kim reminds us each Christmas Eve, I promise you it's the same light. Please say hello now in the chat as we continue our virtual greetings. Let's engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart. Over to Mark David.
Good morning, everyone, and hello from Arlington, Massachusetts. I'm here with Julie Metcalf, who will be joining me again on all the songs this morning. And we're going to start with a song based on the Buddhist meditation, May All Be Filled with Loving Kindness. Many of you know it, and I'm going to teach it real fast for those of you that may not. It starts with, may I be filled with loving kindness. So let's try that. The first line is, may I be filled with loving kindness. Your turn. May I be filled with loving kindness. Then, may I be well. Your turn. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. Your turn. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. Your turn. And may I be happy. Let's try that whole part. May I be filled. May I be filled with loving kindness. So what we're going to do is we'll sing through that all again since we were just learning it, and then we'll sing may I be filled, as because all these prayers start with showing self-love towards ourselves. And then we'll sing may you be loved, extending that compassion to the people around us that we know and care about. Then may we be filled, expressing that compassion to all the people that we know, all the people in this Zoom room together with us. And finally, may all be filled with loving kindness, trying to extend those feelings of compassion for everyone in the world, people that we don't know and may never know. And between each verse, we'll take a little instrumental break to just reflect on what it is that we're saying and singing and what it is that we're feeling. So we'll start off with a little violin by Julie, and then we'll sing once again, May I Be Filled. 1, 2. May I be filled. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. May all be filled. May all be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. And may all be happy. Amen.
As Kim lights our chalice, symbol of our free faith, and you light your candles at home, we hold in our hearts the loved ones of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. May we recommit ourselves to healing the wounds of the scourge of racism, starting in ourselves, and to a world of racial justice so that their murders are not in vain. These are the words of Maya Angelou. Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope spring high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, may they rest in power. Presente.
I am heading for a time of quiet, when my restlessness is past, and I can lie down on my blanket and release my fists at last. I am heading for a time of solitude, of peace without illusions, when the perfect circle marries all. And when they say that you're not good enough, well, the answer is you're not. But who are they? Oh, what is it that eats at what you've got? With the hunger of ambition for the change inside the purse. They are handcuffs on the soul, my friends. Handcuffs on the soul. And worse. I am heading for a place of quiet, where the sage and sweet grass grow, by a lake of sacred water. From the mountains melted snow.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
It is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. These candles were submitted at ascboston.org. If you didn't submit your candle and have one you'd like to share this morning, I invite you to type it into the chat. In addition to sharing our sorrows and our joys this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious this beloved community is. We need one another. Despite having to be apart, may we stay very close. And now, in the spirit of invocation, let's join in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Some of us come today with heavy hearts. We open our hearts to you.
Arlington Street's Transformation Team for Racial Justice lights a candle of sorrow for the families of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and Tony McDade, all killed by active duty or retired police officers. The reality that we live in a world where people of color are targeted and killed simply for living and doing everyday activities is horrifying. It contradicts everything we believe in as Unitarian Universalists and all that we hold dear. The onus is on those of us who are white to commit to make a change and to work for it every single day. Arlington Street Church remains committed to showing up and speaking up until we are all free. A candle of sorrow from Art Judge for Jean, my sister and best friend, who passed 18 years ago today. Presente. A candle of sorrow from the Arlington Street community as the country breaches the unfathomable number of 100,000 deaths from COVID-19. Our hearts are with all of those who are suffering and all of those who care for them. Candle of sorrow from Deb Peck for Wendy. A candle of sorrow from Roger Hooper. I'm sorry to report that I'm back in the hospital. Hopefully it won't be for too long. A mixed candle from Maureen Peterson. In memory of my best friend, Lisa Woisen, who we lost to pancreatic cancer 10 years ago on Memorial Day. You are with me always. Our final candle of sorrow is from Daryl Waters. Larry Kramer, playwright, novelist, and AIDS activist, died this week at 84. Perhaps best known for his play, The Normal Heart, Kramer also co-founded both the Gay Men's Health Crisis and ACT UP. The LGBTQ community has benefited enormously from having fiery, thoughtful, combative, and tender Larry Kramer on our side. We mourn his loss, and we venerate him for his work. Larry Kramer, presente.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
And some of us come today in joy. We share your joy.
Candle of joy from Martha Bonney. Happy 20th anniversary to my true companion, Spencer Bonney. While we may be apart on our anniversary this year, every day and every moment with a love like ours is a celebration. A candle of joy from Queen Cheryl. 2 years ago, my prize-winning shade garden was completely destroyed by construction. I've been paralyzed by grief for too long, and I'm grateful to finally be at the point of envisioning a new landscape and being able to start the restoration process. Yesterday, I put down 60 bags of topsoil and 400 pounds of manure and planted 6 rose bushes. By evening, I was covered in dirt. My body was bruised and sore. I was completely exhausted, and it felt great. My poor garden has begun to heal, and so have I. Our final candle of joy is from Martha Bonney. Happy birthday to our beloved Uncle Al Ingram. You are a path to the heart of our family. We love you so much. With love from your Wisconsin family.
the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of our sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, and for the world. Amen.
Let's join now and sing together the affirmation and covenant of this beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another.
El amor es el espíritu de nuestra congregación y el servicio es nuestro regalo. Esto es a lo que nos comprometemos, convivir en paz, hablar nuestras verdades con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Our second hymn today is one that's become a Unitarian Universalist classic, Wo Ya Ya, from the band Osibisa. Wo Ya Ya simply translates to "We Are Going." I hope you'll sing it along with us. 1 and 2. We are going. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. 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 We are going. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road
The high wire in Zen Buddhism is the practice of don't know mind. It's walking off the map of the known into the uncharted, that part illustrated with sea monsters and other mythological creatures that's labeled, "Here be dragons." And it's stopping ourselves cold from making up stories about what's happening, or what's next, or what might have been, could have been, should have been. The existential uncertainty of don't know trends from a kind of vaguely unsettled discomfort to pure misery. In varying degrees right now, we're all living with don't know. For many of us, these times feel like free fall with no bottom. The truth is, we never really know anything about what's next, but under normal circumstances, even though at some level we know it could all be pulled out from under us at any moment, we can function as if cause and effect are at play. The problem with living in the midst of a global pandemic is that we don't get to slip into denial about it. Don't know is a spiritual practice. When we engage it, we can find a measure of serenity and even peace. On a perfectly beautiful morning last week, my friend of 32 years, a nurse working with the most vulnerable population, called to say that his 75-year-old husband had awakened with pain in his chest, gasping for breath, and was rushed to the hospital. My mind went white. I didn't exactly have him dead, but I experienced the gut punch of COVID-19. My friend continued, he tested negative for the virus. A flash of crazy relief. And then he has 3 liters of fluid in his lungs, and they found a 3-inch mass in his upper left lobe. A single beat of silence, and we finished together. Lung cancer. My friend is not dead. He doesn't even have the virus, and we don't know that it's lung cancer. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. Maybe it will kill him, and maybe it won't. All told, that was less than 20 seconds of emotional whiplash. I was able to see the wobble in my mind, in my heart, and know that making up stories about it was not serving me or my usefulness, or least of all, my friends. We don't know anything. We took a few deep breaths together. I'm sorry, I said. It must have been terrifying. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's figure out what you need right now. Fluid was drained from his lungs, and after an overnight stay, he was released from the hospital. He's physically comfortable now, anxious first thing in the morning, and then drawn into the distractions of the day. More than a week later, we still don't know what's wrong. Medical systems are strained to breaking. But if we can all avoid the uselessness of speculation, thoughts, and opinions, and what if, and practice staying in the moment, practice don't know mind, moment by moment, we can create some spaciousness and serenity. Yesterday, we sat in the midst of their glorious garden and laughed. Don't know mind, writes San Francisco Zen Center abbess Zenkai Blanche Hartman, is the mind that is innocent of preconceptions and expectations, judgments and prejudices. It is just present to explore and observe and see things as they are. Think of a small child full of curiosity and wonder and amazement. Can we look at our lives this way? She continues, can we look at all the aspects of our lives with this mind, just open to seeing what is there to see? We all want to be the one who knows. But if we decide we know something, we are not open to other possibilities anymore, and that's a shame. We lose something very vital in our life when it's more important to us to be the one who knows than it is to be awake to what's happening. We get disappointed because we expect one thing and it doesn't happen quite like that. We say, yuck, not what I thought it would be, instead of saying, oh, isn't that interesting? How can we cultivate a mind that is free just to be awake? Once we notice the busyness of our mind and all the fixed ideas and fixed views we carry around, then it's possible for us to let them go and say, well, maybe so, and maybe not. Freeing ourselves of preconception, expectation, judgment, and the willingness not to get caught believing any of it is what Mary Oliver was after in her poem, When Death Comes. She writes in part, when death comes, I want to step through that door full of curiosity, wondering what's it going to be like. When it's over, I want to say, all my life I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom, taking the world into my arms. In spite of everything, can we choose to live with that kind of wholeheartedness? Even on the difficult days, can we pry our lives open to potential, to possibilities? This is the spiritual practice of don't know. To marry amazement, meeting whatever comes with curiosity, wonder, equanimity, and grace. So how do we do it? First, we find our breath and return to be here now. Just breathe. And next we ask a simple question. What's happening right now? Breathe. What's happening? When we consider what's happening, we take care not to add to the facts. Adding to it is what I call storytelling. What's happening is different from the story we're making up about it, and much more often than not, the story, what we're adding, is not helpful. Throughout the day, we just keep finding our breath. Breathe. Ask, what's happening right now? Don't add to it. Ezra Beda, a teacher at the Zen Center of San Diego, writes, the point of asking what's going on right now is to wake up from our sleep. Awareness isn't introspection, wandering endlessly in the mazes of the mind. Awareness isn't about memories or reflections on the past or a free association about experiences in the future. Awareness is confined to what's actually going on within the space of this present moment. The attitude is non-judgmental and curious. Any should is antithetical to genuine awareness. And that leads to another question that I find helpful. We can ask, what else? When I ask, what else? That's the moment I remember to pray or to give something away. The times we feel the poorest are the best times to give a gift, especially a gift of service, to remember that we are not poor when we are rich in spirit. Breathe. What's happening right now? What else? In Buddhism, Mara is the demonic celestial king associated with desire and death. On the darkest night before the dawn in which he was to become enlightened, the Buddha sat in meditation all through the night and was attacked by the forces of Mara. The story goes that they shot arrows at him, but the arrows turned into flowers. American Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron writes, "What does this story mean? My understanding of it is that what we habitually regard as obstacles are not really our enemies, but our friends. The way the world teaches us where we're stuck. Whether we experience what happens to us as an obstacle and enemy or as a teacher and friend depends entirely on our perception of reality." Pema Chodron's teacher, Trungpa Rinpoche, once asked a group of his students, "What do you do when you get squeezed? What do you do when things are unbearable?" Pema writes, "We all sat there wondering what to say. And then he called on us one by one, and we were so scared that we answered very genuinely. Almost all of us said something to the effect that we just completely fell apart and forgot about spiritual practice altogether. But after that, we noticed very clearly what we did when we felt attacked, betrayed, or confused, when we found situations unacceptable or unbearable. We began to really notice what we did. Did we close down, or did we open up? Did we feel resentful and bitter, or did we soften? Did we know more about what it means to be human? Were we penetrated by arrows, or did we turn them into flowers? This is don't know mind. Many of us have come up against a view of the end of our lives, an accident or illness that shook us to the core. When it's happened to me more than once, I found it shocking, really, and a bit disorienting. That disorientation is don't know mind. For those of us who live to tell the story, if we're lucky, we experience the feeling of another chance at life, the feeling of clarity, of priorities snapping into place, of the willingness to forgive. If we're very lucky and we put in the work, we cultivate a spiritual practice that holds and upholds us and never leaves us. There's a great story of a guy on a solo meditation retreat on a mountain. The creek rushing past his hut was very loud. He just couldn't make any room for silence inside his head. At one point, he left his cushion, went outside, and worked for several hours to rearrange the rocks in the water, hoping to smooth out the noise. When he returned to sit, he realized that he had created the opening bars of the Marine's hymn, "From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli." He feared he was losing his mind. And then late in the night, above the roaring creek, there was another sound. It was a huge roar. Yes, almost certainly the roar of a grizzly bear, followed by a loud snuffling and scratching on the wall of the hut. The man sprang up, jammed a chair under the door handle, and closed the inner storm shutters over the single window. He squeezed himself in under his cot, shaking with fear. He heard the small table he had moved outside snap and break like firewood. His heart felt like it was beating out of his chest, and he could hear the sound of his blood rushing in his ears. He was completely alone, with no way to call for help. And then, suddenly, he realized for the first time since he'd arrived, it had gotten really, really quiet. The creek was merely background now, and in the foreground was an enormous silence filled with his fear and the bear. This is Don't Know Mind. The guy with the bear on the other side of the wall was just aware enough to recognize this for exactly what it is, an extraordinary opportunity to practice. Breathe. What's happening right now? What else? Eventually, after it had been quiet for hours and hours, he pulled back a shutter and peered into the moonlit night. No bear. He lowered the chair until he could open the door just a crack. No bear. The bear was gone, and so was the noise of the creek, replaced by something much bigger, much more compelling, a vast silence inside his head, and an affirmation of his devotion to practice as if his life depended on it. Beloved spiritual companions, here be dragons. Breathe. What's happening right now? What else? Let us practice Don't Know Mind. Spacious, serene, and free just to be awake. In spite of everything, may we choose to live with wholeheartedness, to marry amazement, meeting whatever comes with curiosity, wonder, equanimity, and grace. When the bear comes, may we turn arrows into flowers. Amen.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and a sweet silver sun of our Lord. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Beloveds, in early March, the reports from our finance team were looking fantastic. We were on trend to end this fiscal year in the black. When the pandemic hit and we began sheltering in place, we were suddenly facing a $60,000 to $70,000 deficit. Nevertheless, we committed to continuing to pay our staff. We invested in equipment to live stream and moved our worship and much of our lives to Zoom. And we turn to you, to all of us, to sustain this beloved spiritual community. Over the past 3 months, we have given generously, making it possible for us to thrive in these difficult days. You have amazed us again and again. And 2 weeks ago, we all began to pledge to next year's budget. Are you ready to hear the total of our pledges to date? Drum roll, please. So far, you have pledged $248,699. Thank you for your extravagant generosity. If you haven't pledged yet, I'll be telling you how very soon during the parish highlights. For now, it's time to give to this morning's offering. Each of us has the power to make a difference, to do our part to strengthen the safety net that holds and upholds us all. Your generous enthusiasm and support for everything Arlington Street is doing right now to uplift and uphold us, keeping us strong and connected, is deeply appreciated. Please take a moment now to fill our virtual collection plate. You can text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 617-300-0509. You can scan the QR code in the order of service, or you can click on the yellow donate button on the bottom right hand of the homepage at ascboston.org. Here's that number one more time, 617-300-0509. Thank you for your generosity. After you make your gift to sustain our beloved spiritual community, please continue to share in the chat what inspires you during these difficult days.
Good morning, everybody. So I will be sharing with you a song, sort of a union of interesting influences, different traditions. So this is a song called Enlightenment by Van Morrison, and it sounds kind of like if you took a Dharma talk and then superimposed it onto Brown Eyed Girl. And I happen to love both of those things, so I think you'll enjoy it as well. Chop that wood, carry water. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Every second, every minute, it keeps changing to something different. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. It says it's non-attachment, non-attachment, non-attachment. I'm in the here and now, I'm meditating, and still I'm suffering, but that's my problem. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Wake up. Enlightenment, 'cause the world is nothing but a dream. Everything's an illusion and nothing is real. Good or bad, baby, you can change it any way you want. You can rearrange it. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Chop that wood and carry water. What's the sound? One hand clapping. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. It's not attachment, not attachment, not attachment. All around, baby, you can see you're making your own reality. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Enlightenment, don't know what it is. Enlightenment, don't know what it is.
Did you know that every Friday night since 1984, our hungry and unhoused neighbors have been served a nutritious dinner from this building? The Friday Night Supper program is one of our most important partners, and we're so grateful for their life-saving work. Normally, our friends from the Friday Night Supper program would have served a beautiful lunch to help us celebrate covenant renewal. Since that wasn't an option this year, Art Nava, who was on our tech team and also on their board, made this beautiful video so we can see what they've been up to and how grateful they are to share this space with us.
Our program is still running thanks to people like you, and we are very, very thankful to have your support. We are now running a full to-go operation out of the front of the church, so thank you to the ASC for that, for allowing us to use those beautiful doors. Our guests are still being serviced with exemplary quality, and we are doing our best to maintain safety standards across the board for both our volunteers and our guests, and provide additional services to our guests in their times of need.
Hello, ASC staff and members. I'm the development director, Jenny Lecoq at FNSP, and I wanted to just say a huge thank you to all of you. As you probably know, we had to cancel our spring gala during the COVID-19 crisis, which left us with a big deficit. We are very happy to announce that with our Spring of Heal, we've brought in over $30,000, and you know what? 10% of that came from you guys. So not only do you provide us an amazing home in the center of Boston to serve Boston's homeless and hungry, but you also support us in so many other ways. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Thank you.
One of the things that we are most touched by is the comments that we get from our guests, given that we have continued to stay open and provided them with a warm meal, takeaway bag, some extras in that bag when we can do that. And they continue to comment to the volunteers, to the staff, on how grateful they are and how much they appreciate having this place to come. And we're all looking forward to sitting down with them again in community. And we hope next year we'll be able to have our appreciation to you in community as well. Please stay well, stay safe, and thank you so much.
On behalf of Friday Night Supper program, the co-chairs would like to thank you so much for this partnership that means a lot to us. These are difficult times, and we are still going just because people like you support us. Financially, ASC is always open, and our guests are always coming back. So a big heartfelt thank you from myself, from Regina, from everybody on our team.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art, and thank you to everyone at the Friday Night Supper program. We have lots of great events to check out this week. We will be saying metta together, sharing our favorite poems, discussing the book How to Survive a Plague, practicing yoga, writing like Zen masters, singing with Mark David and our choir section leaders, and drinking tea with Reverend Kim and me. This week's tea time prompt is an article of clothing you can't part with and why. Bonus points if you wear it to tea. Be sure to check out ascboston.org for all the details. At the close of today's service, please unmute yourself for virtual coffee hour and enjoy the opportunity to visit in smaller groups in breakout rooms. Since we're in the heart of covenant renewal season, I'm going to remind you that it's your generous support that funds our staff and all of the programming we do here, including the events throughout the week in the Arlington Street Zoom room. Thank you to everyone that has made a pledge for the upcoming church year. As Reverend Kim says, if you can't help right now, we got you. If you can help, we are counting on you. If you haven't made your pledge yet, I'm going to tell you how right now. It couldn't be easier. In addition to being on your screen, this info is on the homepage at ascboston.org and will also appear in the chat. You can pledge in one of three ways: by text message, by email, or with a phone call. Feel free to do it now. Liz, our amazing treasurer, is standing by. To keep it simple, you only need to send 3 pieces of information: your name, your phone number, and the total pledge amount for the next church year. After you make your pledge, a member of the Covenant Renewal team will follow up to confirm all of the details, and most importantly, say thank you. Before I turn it over to Mark David for our closing hymn, a final thank you to all of you who have joined for today's service, and again to all of those who made it possible. Let's be together like this throughout the week, and again next Sunday morning at 11. It's been wonderful to be with you, my friends. Don't forget, we're in this together. I love you.
Well, everyone, for our closing hymn today, we're going to be singing Sister Hazel's Change Your Mind. And let me just teach you all the chorus of how this goes. It goes like this. If you want to be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles with yourself, if you want to be somebody else, change your mind, change your mind. Let's try that together. If you want. 1, 2. If you want to be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles with yourself, if you want to be somebody else, change your mind, change your mind. Great, you're welcome to sing along with all of it, make up some harmonies, add a third or fourth part, and at least join with us on the chorus. Here's from the beginning. 2, 3. Hey, did you ever think there might be another way to just feel better about today? Oh no, if you never want to have to turn and go away, you might feel better if you stay. Yeah, I hope you heard every word I've said. Yeah, if you've had enough of all you're trying, just give up the state of mind you're in. If you want If you're tired of fighting battles with yourself, if you want to be somebody else, change your mind. Change your mind. Hey, hey, have you ever danced in the rain or thanked the sun just for shining o'er the sea? Oh no, take it all in, the world's a show, and yet you look much better when you glow. Yeah, yeah, I hope you heard every word I've said. Yeah, yeah, if you've had enough of all you're trying, just give up the state of mind you're in. If you wanna be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles with yourself, if you wanna be somebody else, change your mind. Change your mind. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Hey, hey, what you say we both go and seize the day? 'Cause what's your hurry anyway? Yeah, yeah, I hope you heard every word I've said. Yeah, yeah, if you've had enough of all you're trying, just give up the state of mind you're in. If you wanna be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles with yourself, if you wanna be somebody else, change your mind. Change your mind. One more time. If you wanna be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles with yourself, if you wanna be somebody else, change your mind. Change your mind. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Before our benediction, I invite you to reach out your hands and touch the sides of your square. Touch hands with people to your left and to your right, and send out love to the person on either side of you and to the person on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. Love is the spirit of this congregation. And now for our benediction, I invite you to put your hands over your heart in Namaste. I bow to the divine in you. These words are adapted from my beloved colleague, Mark Bellatini. Go in peace. Live simply, gently, at home in yourself. Speak the truth or speak not. Act justly. Remember the depth of your own compassion. Forget not your power in the days of your powerlessness. Crave peace for all people, beginning with yourself. Let us go forth now with the dream of that peace alive in our hearts. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Bless your hearts. I love you. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine.
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.